podcast.
Or
Welcome.
not.
Welcome, everyone. Yeah,
A little musical entry.
yeah, of course, that's the best way to start, I feel. How's everyone doing? Thanks for, of course, joining already live. If you're watching later, also welcome. I'm, of course, always joined by Frankie Boy, also known for his German YouTube name, Fragnart. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. Thank you for introducing me. And the question that the chat and I are already having is, how are you on this week? Because last week you came back from LA and you named yourself a zombie. Of course, I didn't do that. So the question is, how are you now?
Yeah, I called myself a zombie because I was already, when I went on the show, I was already awake for a long time. Like I had like an 11-hour flight already under my belt. It's going way better now. I'm not jet lagged anymore. Had a fun weekend. So it like in combination with the jet lag and the weekend, I needed some time to recover. But it worked out, and so far it feels like I'm back. I'm back in a normal way. So I'm not sure what I said last week. It's all a blur. So maybe I said some weird things, but maybe not. You can watch the previous episode if you haven't.
You should totally.
So this week, of course, like every week, we want to come together on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, which is 9 a.m. if you're from the East Coast in the US, and very early 6 a.m. in the Pacific Coast. We want to discuss Assassin's Creed, Shadows, news, or other like sort of things. Kind of nerd out about the series and the recent news. We actually had some news, but I thought it was interesting because I always like to have a question for the episode, to have to kind of like discuss in general. So far, we've seen the cinematic trailer, we've seen the gameplay, we heard quite a lot of details. I still am sitting on some information. I like to sprinkle it out in videos. Not sure if you saw the video that I did like a few days ago on Monday with some interesting new details. Did you?
I didn't get it.
Okay.
I didn't get it. I was quite busy this week, so...
No, that's totally fine, but...
we can talk about the details you revealed there, maybe a little bit. I think some of the guys right here might also be happy about a fresh up on that info.
No, sure. And I thought it was like fun to have this episode be about like, do we think so far if Ubisoft is making the right choices? Because overall, I think we all wanted, of course, an Assassin's Creed in Japan. It's an RPG again, similar to Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. But they are making quite some interesting choices. I mean, it's always good, I think, to approach a game and not have it be very similar. But where I'm at currently, I'm like, aren't they going a bit too far? Like, aren't they going maybe too far in the we want to be something different, while maybe just making an Odyssey-style RPG in Japan would have been enough. So that's where I kind of want to go in a way. And I'm, by the way, gonna... Yeah, if you move like that, you're kind of blocked.
Out of frame, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I gotta go to the left-hand side.
Or I can change your webcam, whatever you want, if you like to...
No, it's fine like this.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a tough question, and I think some guys in the chat already have an opinion on that.
Yeah. So
I see some strong opinions right there.
Yeah. I think that have been very nice, and thanks everyone for joining. Berserk, I see you, Smug Chimnak, of course, as well, and everyone else. Thank you for joining. Also, Wolfkids there in the Twitch chat. Appreciate everyone joining here. Again, every week we're live, so put it on your schedule and kind of discuss Assassin's Creed with us. So I thought it was fun to do some statements, and then we could kind of discuss. Yes or no, and then maybe at the end, of course, we're gonna do our predictions. I hope you have one.
Yeah, of course.
That really sounded convincing. I have one. I'm prepared this week. I'm not a zombie anymore.
Yeah, I already saw your prediction.
Yeah. So we're gonna discuss that at the end of the show. So you have like an hour to come up with one. But yeah, I wanted to start with one thing, and I think it's going to be fun to also put like a poll in the chat so people can more easily, say what they think, and then we can like discuss some comments that we see that are interesting and insert them as well. I think the first thing, like a kind of simple statement that I want to try is there's no bird companion this time, and that's actually a good thing. What do you think?
What a statement, man. I actually really liked the bird first in Origins. I think it was a nice thing to add into Assassin's Creed. Well, to be fair, I came into the series with Origins, so the bird was like my standard thing and not a new thing for me. But yeah, I liked it in Origins. I think was pretty nice for scouting around and having a drone. Kind of was OP when you could like always see the paths of the guards, etc., and where everyone was going. But it was also nice for the farming thing you could do in Origins, right? Then in Odyssey, I think it was less important, in my opinion. And for Valhalla, the bird had no meaning at all. So this is where it kind of just diminished. And I think maybe it's time for a change up, just to switch things up, to switch perspectives. And so far we've already seen that the Animus Pulse scan is in the game now. And I'm super curious how it will affect our gameplay and if we will miss it, because actually in Valhalla I didn't miss it at all. So yeah, I think
And Mirage,
why not?
of course, had it as well. And then
but I think in Mirage it was pointless as well.
Yeah.
Same as Valhalla. And yeah. So I would say I agree. Why not switch things up, even though I liked it? But switching things up sometimes can be great. Is the camera working?
Yeah, it is, but I'm like doing a lot of it is working again, but I'm doing like a lot of things to so we can like do it like this. Yeah. No, I agree. I personally I see most people agreeing that it's a good thing as well. Of course, we now see the new Eagle Vision that they're using, and I just love the more grounded nature, because I thought in Origins it was kind of like fun because it was new. In Odyssey it had like new uses. I think in Odyssey it made some sense as well to include it. Like I think in both games they made it like very incorporated into the story as well. And in Valhalla, it was kind of like, yeah, we have to do this mechanic, so we're trying something new as well, but it did not really make sense. And in Mirage, they, of course, were using a lot of the Valhalla elements, so they were like, yeah, we have to use this bird, but for, Basim, like, I did like what they did at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but I did like what they did with the bird at the end, where, of course, Basim went through his transformation, so the bird kind of reacted to that.
But that was kind of just one cutscene or so.
Yeah, that was kind of like
I mean, the message was quite impressive.
Yeah.
But especially if you compare it to the very start of the game, where you get the bird first.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a nice contrast. But yeah, I totally agree. Why not switch it up if it doesn't make sense for the certain gameplay you chose as a publisher? Why have it in the game if it's just there to be there, to make some people happier and to sell some skins for birds as well?
I mean, they have the trinkets now, like of course, like the bird skins. In Origins, they of course started with it in the Discovery tour. I remember that. I think if you did like all the guided tours, you would get like the white Senu skin. And then in Odyssey, did they have bird skins in Odyssey?
Oh,
I don't think they.
No.
No, I don't think so.
I don't. No. They had, of course, a ton in Valhalla, but for
Yeah.
AC
Valhalla, they went
Odyssey,
crazy with like the dragon and and the parrot and all that. Yeah, they had like a ton of different animals. And in Mirage, I think they tried some things in Mirage. No, I don't think they did in Mirage as well. Of course, in Mirage they did introduce the sort of if the sort of marksman saw you, they would shoot at you. So they were already, and that's why in Mirage I already never used the bird companion. So again, I think this is a great change, and I'm curious to hear from the people that disagree with the statement. So let me know
totally.
if you because we have 75% saying that they agree that it's a good thing that there's no bird companion, but 24% or 25% are saying they disagree. So I am curious.
I mean, you could even split this question up into if there was just some sensible thing to do with the bird, would you love it in the game? Because you, of course, have to differentiate. Right now, if you compare it to Valhalla, then I mean, leave it out. But if you compare it to maybe Origins, then it could be a feature.
Yeah.
But is this really something to benefit gameplay loop wise? Or is it just some... I mean, for some awesome drone shots, it's kind of cool for videos, but...
Oh, yeah. No, and I thought it was, like, fun to scout ahead. But also, looking at Shadows, it doesn't make sense. Like, would then only Naue have the bird or something? Because
or
for Yasuke,
birds,
it doesn't make sense for Yasuke to have the bird, I think. Because he will be very focused on, seeing the enemies in front of him and fighting those. So being able to tag them already doesn't really make sense.
Or now his Fata Nobunaga dies and he lives as a bird and guides them through the Japanese war.
Yeah.
some Isu style. I don't think that will happen. Did you actually notice that a friend of me who is really into Japanese stuff, katanas and also some history stuff, just found out that the father of Naue, he was a super famous assassin living under a fake name.
Oh.
I have to check what his real name was, but it's not Nobunaga. Nobunaga was one of his fake names, and you find it in some Japanese sources as well, so that's really something historical. And he was also attacked by the antagonist. How was he called again?
Oda Nobunaga.
Oh yeah, then his name was not Nobunaga. But yeah, her father was
we know her father is like a famous person, and she also gets the hidden blade, of course, from him, likely at the start. And we learned that the hidden blade somehow is what is going to connect both Yasuke and Naue, which is interesting, because of course at the start of the game they we know Naue lives in the Iga province. She's trained to become a shinobi by her father, and then Yasuke invades her province by orders of Oda Nobunaga. So then Naue is like, why are you destroying my birthplace? But at one point they still come together, of course, to work together, and it seems like the Hidden Blade will have something to do with that, which is kind of interesting. But what I'm kind of with all these, I mean, there are a lot of historical facts, of course, already out there for how this time period is going to play out. And that's, of course, interesting, but I'm always like, that's going to kind of ruin some big points in the game. So I also think that it's good to not, discuss that a lot.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But
totally.
So let's do the next statement. Because I see for people that are like, they disagree that the fact that there's no bird companion, they said it's traditional.
I mean, yeah, traditional since 2017. I can agree to that.
Yeah.
But if we say Origins is some traditional AC thing, then I guess the hardcore AC fans from back then would disagree.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I see Donnie here saying, just for the ability to view the landscape with the bird is awesome. I agree with that. But
yeah,
we
some drone mode for peaceful playthrough or those.
I totally get that, but we've also seen that you can really get higher up. Like one of the very cool concept arts that was, of course, shared after completing the box. I'm gonna show it right now. Like that, this one of course also really shows that if you just get higher up, you can still get a very cool view of the world. And now you kind of earned it, right? Now you're like, okay, I climbed on top of this tree or this mountain, and then I'm looking over.
Just looks great.
Yeah. So I think I totally get it. Like it seems right now that the people that disagree just are not opposed, like they don't like change or something. Maybe that's too short-sighted. But let's go to the other statement. I thought this was like an easy one where I know a lot of people mostly agree. So let's look at another one. And this one also, I'm gonna like put it in the poll. And this one also deserves kind of a story. I'm not sure if you were aware of the whole social stealth situation that we had.
I think it's. I just saw a discussion of you and Access to the Animus on Twitter, right? Where you had some different opinions on the reality of it.
No. What happened was there we had like Access the Animus reported from a GameFile article. So GameFile is this newsletter from Stephen Totillo, ex-editor-in-chief from Kotaku. He does excellent work. And he also is like a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Also went to Ubisoft Forward and actually was able to interview Marc-Alexis Cote, the executive producer of the whole Assassin's Creed franchise. He's like kind of overseeing every project. And was also, of course, really, really present in the Assassin's Creed showcase that we had, of course, in September 2022. And he was also at Ubisoft Forward, did some interviews. And one of the things Stephen Totillo learned is that Assassin's Creed Infinity will now be called the Animus Hub. So that's kind of the news that you hear about that. What do you think of that?
About the Animus Hub?
Yeah, so it's not called Assassin's Creed Infinity anymore, but Animus Hub.
I mean, it's nothing too fancy. You have to get used to it. Same with Red and Shadows. And it just makes sense to call it give it some like different mothership name. And the hub makes totally sense because that's what Assassin's Creed is. It's about the Animus, using the Animus to dive into it. And it really describes the core of what this launcher shall do. So I think it's really fitting. I don't know if it might distract some people, so they expect something different from it when they say, the Animus Hub, I don't want that, I want Assassin's Creed Shadows. So might lead to a little bit of confusion, but for a C fan, it just is what it really is. And I don't know. Yeah, what's your opinion on it?
Yeah, we of course have to wait and see. I think Assassin's Creed Infinity was more like a internal code name at Ubisoft for what they're basically doing. When Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out, that is basically the starting point for an infinite amount of Assassin's Creed experiences. Yeah. Where every year we're getting something new. Of course, Mirage was last year, but Shadows will really be the kickoff because it will be the first game on this hub. And that's what we also saw, what we discussed last week as well, and that I touched on in the video as well, was that Abstergo logo, of course, in the corner, where normally in Valhalla the main menu was. So it seems that instead of going to that same main menu that we've seen starting with Origins, with of course the sort of start game, like new game, load game, store, all that sort of stuff in the left side, and then the right side you have like the tiles, the 3 news tiles and all that sort of stuff. They're gonna, like, that's gonna disappear, but instead we will have this Animus UI. And I think it's pretty cool concept that we, the player, when we pick up the controller, are actually in the Animus, as if we are choosing which time period to go to, and Shadows will of course be one of them. So I think the Animus Hub makes
maybe it's
sense.
A little bit more immersive. I can totally imagine that in a virtual reality that would fit it 100%. Maybe also augmented reality with an Animus in your living room, I don't know, wherever you play. that would be awesome, and then to lay down in it and then wake up in Assassin's Creed Shadows. But I think that's music of the future right now.
Yeah, I don't know if people would want that. I mean, that has been the thing, right, so far with
maybe
the
1%.
technology being kind of there. I mean, I played Assassin's Creed Nexus, which was kind of going for that concept, but it's still, like, the gameplay is still not the same as just picking up a controller and exploring the big open worlds.
Totally.
But yeah, also,
Yeah.
GameFile said that social stealth would actually be in Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I learned from the associate game director that I interviewed that it won't be in the game. So then Stephen Totillo reached out to Ubisoft again, to Mark Alexi Cote, being like, yo, what's the deal here? Because one person is saying it's not in the game, and you said to me that it is. So then we got the official quote here. So first of all, what I heard was, social stealth is not really in the game, so we have a different approach. We don't use social stealth because Naue and the Shinobi, the way we set up now, it's more a warrior Shinobi that goes into the light and shadows. She should not be there when she does a mission, so there's nothing she does in the street that is classic stealth, social stealth. And Mark Alexi Cote told Stephen Totillo that indeed there's no social stealth, like the associate game director told me, and that basically she is unnoticeable by military NPCs while in the open world, unless she starts doing illegal things like swinging her sword, climbing, or using pro navigation in the street. Naue is invisible by default for NPCs in the open world. Yasuke, however, is impossible to blend in unnoticed. So that's gonna be my next statement here. Is it good that social stealth is not in Assassin's Creed Shadows?
I mean, the question is quite deep, because you also have to implement the Yasuke thing. For now, it also makes sense.
Okay, you would basically say, so it's good that social stealth is not in the game in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Yeah.
I would say it makes sense on what we know so far on the characters. But I kind of like the feature being in the games. So I don't know, really. I would say it's Assassin's Creed-y, and social stealth was one of the first things the series introduced, right? With AC1. So it would just make sense to have it in there. On the other hand side, for Yasuke, he's such a tall guy. He has a different skin color. He can't blend in. Everyone is like staring at him in the streets, so it's kind of impossible for him to blend in unnoticed. I don't know, that would never make sense in any kind. But for Naue, it would be possible if you took like proper clothing or etc. So yeah, they kind of took the feature out, I guess, instead of giving it just to one character.
Yeah.
Because I think we also had like the poll on Naue and Yasuke, and 80% were like, I'm going for Naue, and this would only increase the amount of Naue picks, right?
Yeah, that's totally right. But like you said, I think for Yasuke it would have been really weird if that was possible. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. I think for Yasuke it totally makes sense. For Naue they could have implemented it.
Yeah.
But I think the gameplay doesn't need it because the game is not built like it should be in the game. So yeah, I think they should have added it. So I disagree with that.
With the statement.
With the statement, yeah. But I don't think it's like a deal breaker. It's just, it could or should have been in there. But yeah, let's see how they designed the game to work like this. And maybe it's Assassin's Creed, because now itself is so Assassin's Creed with the stealth features. It's just, I don't know, it might be missing. We have to play it to finally make a decision. And I mean, what's your opinion?
Like, well, first I want to thank Jonathan, by the way, for gifting 5 memberships to other viewers here. So everyone who got, of course, the membership, thank him. That's very, 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 very kind for your support as always. So appreciate that a lot. So I think that I think there are kind of two ways of looking at it, because, and I'm skipping here to the Naue gameplay, because that's kind of their thing. She is always like going to be this character on rooftops that is infiltrating, that should not really be here. Does it make sense for a group of NPCs to walk into a castle like this? I don't know. So there are already like kind of things where I'm like, yeah, does social stealth even make sense in this game? I still think though that it would have been another cool option, because we are seeing quite a lot of people on the street. Sometimes they do stand in groups, and like you said, it is an iconic feature that, like, why are we adding a lot of stealth features to this game while also taking some things away that actually make a lot of sense for Assassin's Creed? So I'm kind of two minds. I agree, Yasuke doesn't make sense, but for Naue, it would have been cool to have multiple ways to approach a camp, or like, it doesn't have to be an option everywhere. In Mirage, it kind of felt like, oh, we always have these merchants standing in in front of like almost every big castle or fort that we're gonna explore, and that didn't really make sense for you to pay like a token, and then these people are just gonna walk in the freaking prison or whatever, and just like, what they would usually do is go in and then just stand there and be like, okay, no guard is like, what are you guys even doing here? And I think the implementation overall was just way better in the older games. So it would have been cool if they added it, if they also gave some cool new flavors to it. On the other hand, with them saying that Naue is already in stealth, like that, then sure, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have her be able to blend in, because she's already blending in when she walks across the street. She doesn't have to stand in a group. So yeah, I kind of two minds.
It depends.
I think it's fine.
You could
overall.
also make it a complex thing, like with a whole quest line leading to a social stealth option to maybe get in there as a prisoner, and then like the guards covering you are friends in secret ones. Yeah, that's also, I don't know, maybe there will be some quests like this, but I think the point is that we don't have this standard easy social stealth features we had. I saw someone in the chat say it never felt natural, and it's
social stealth in general.
Yeah. I kind of agree, because like, it didn't make sense for a group of monks, and you just go into this group and the group says nothing. And
I mean, in the first cinematic trailer, I think it worked really well, right? With all the air kind of like disappearing in that like large group of monks, and his armor kind of being pretty close to what they were wearing. I think there it really worked.
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on so many factors, and maybe that's why they took it out, because those factors and the character pick would also like be very, very meaningful to the reactions of the people in the streets. And maybe Naue is also famous. I don't know.
But no, she's not.
But a famous shinobi is doing faults.
Yeah. I mean, her father was famous, and
that's why I had these aliases, or had all these fake personalities. Kind of hide.
No, but I think like it would be cool to, like, they should not get rid of it, but if they were going to implement it like a Valhalla, then don't bother, right? Because that game just had it for the check mark. It was like, oh, people wanted it because Odyssey was too far away from what an Assassin's Creed game was. Let's just throw it in, put it in a trailer, get everyone excited. Come game, we were all like,
the checkbox.
Yeah, it's
blade,
like it's
social stealth, parkour, a bird.
But it didn't really like do a lot for the game itself. But I do think that they should bring it back, and I'm looking at the Mirage team that is probably going to make another more old school Assassin's Creed. I hope at least that they like really look at the core of this feature and what can we do to make it, for one, make way more sense in the world. What if you go stand in the group and then change outfit to look exactly like those people in the group? So that you have to do that manually yourself. So you have to search for an outfit that is similar to the people that you see on the street, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna wear that, stand in, and then use it, and then you will really blend in, and then it will make way more sense. Or it has to be more than just this gimmick where, for whatever reason, there are these people that have nothing to do, so all they do is stand in a group for day and night, waiting for someone like you to come, give them a useless token, and then they will be like, okay, now we can do something with our lives. It would be way cooler if there's maybe also that, during the day, around this time, these people will be there. So it's like, okay, it's good to have this outfit with me, so then I can blend in with them. Something like that they really take it to the next level. I think that would have been cool. And for Shadows, that would have maybe been a bit too much, looking at the other stealth things they're focused on.
But I think we will get some missions like that. We had some missions, I think it was like a bathhouse or so, where we had to dress up.
Yeah, in Mirage.
Yeah, exactly. And they will likely implement that with Naue, but for Yasuke,
I don't know,
blend
though.
in. He's too famous. He's
a
superstar going through the streets. The token thing, I don't miss that, to be honest. I don't think it was the best decision. And by the way, I always had so many tokens, like 50 to 100 at every point. Did you experience the same thing?
Yeah, because I was like stealing a lot. So
exactly.
Of the tokens. I see here, Ramesses is saying useless token. I mean, it was never explained to me why these people like this green merchant token. Like, what is the value to them? That's kind of my point.
I mean, it's like like some guild thing to earn a favor. I think it's something of giving and getting back some family.
See, you have a hard time explaining it. That proves my point. Okay.
I mean, you really have to make some reason up, and I would say it's like a guild. Like in the Lord of the Rings Amazon series, the guild that Sauron joined.
I watched 3 episodes and I was like, I'm out.
I had to watch it because it's Lord of the Rings. But yeah, I get your point. The Silmarillion is nicer.
Hey, but this is like I expected. It's we're close. Like, it's 53% agree that it's good that social stealth is not in Assassin's Creed Shadows, while 47 is like disagree. So we're very close. These are good statements. Hey, Skata, good to see you. Black market currency, I get it. Like, sure. It just felt more like it felt like a game token that the developers made, but
it's the Bitcoin of all times.
Yeah. Maybe that's a good explanation. So yeah, thanks everyone for voting, and let's do another one.
Yeah, but it's kind of splitting up the community, really, right? The social stealth thing with 53% and 47%. I think most of the polls we do are
one way or the other. Like, it's very clear.
Are exactly one way or the other. But right now, this is a thing people are not agreeing to or really disagree, and it's really splitting up the whole community. But I think the people will play it anyways, since I will play it anyways.
I mean, Omega Infinity is exactly saying it like, hey, what are you doing here? I gave them a piece of rock. Okay, brother, walk with us. I mean, again, it's like how you interpret it. I know that there was probably something valuable to them, but we never saw it. We never saw someone be like, hey, thanks for all these tokens. I can finally buy a house or whatever. Okay, let's look at another statement. And this one has to do with some of the new info that I shared in the video we posted on Monday. I'm, by the way, gonna do it like this. My hair will probably start flowing. That's not that bad.
What will flow? Your hair?
Yeah, because I'm like, it's like kind of hot in here, so I'm like turning on the blower. But yeah, you already see that. Wait, I'm gonna.
That's too bad. Yeah, I think
It's,
summer is the
don't like
worst
this.
time
This
to be a
better.
content creator
Yeah, for sure. No, this is good. Um,
or to work in general.
okay. Did you know about the brutal assassinations?
The brutal ones.
Yeah.
They are more brutal than normal assassinations.
Yes, that's right. But so
Is
it
this a
turns
feature
out,
or just
yeah, no,
some?
it turns out that Yasuke can do assassinations, but he doesn't have a hidden blade. So what he does, we call brutal assassinations. He uses the weapon that he has with him, so every melee weapon he has is able to do some variation of an assassination. So I asked, okay, but that makes a sound, right? It sounds pretty painful. Exactly. As an example, if someone has their back turned to you, with Yasuke being an honorable samurai, he will yell at them for them to turn around, which protects to anyone. So basically, when you walk into a camp and you're like, okay, this is gonna be my target that I'm gonna assassinate with Yasuke, and the target has his back turned, which of course like very favorable for an assassination. Yasuke will be like, yo, turn around or whatever, of course.
And then sludge.
And then that person will turn around, and then he will be like, "Rat-ta-tam," so that he looks him in the eye while he brutally murders him. That seems to be at least... it doesn't seem to be the fact that he still is going to duel them, but I think that's a pretty cool thing. When I heard that, I was like, that's pretty awesome, but that does mean that it really sounds like that you can only do one assassination with Yasuke.
And then it's done, yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole camp is like, oh, he's there, let's fight. So I really thought that if you played it smart, and it was actually going to be pretty challenging to have Yasuke sneak around in the camp. Of course, slower, he's going to make more sound because of his armor. He can still prone, but he's also slower. He can like peek around the corner, but his like armor will still stick out. So if the enemy is looking your way, even if you're like in cover, they will still see you. But it really seems that even if you want to try and do a stealth infiltration with Yasuke, it's just not possible. It's just yeah, it's just like the first enemy you encounter, unless there are maybe no other enemies around, which is gonna be, it's not gonna happen often, I think, especially in these camps. So it really seems that the tactic, from what I'm like understanding here, is probably, okay, let's focus on the most annoying enemy. I'm gonna sneak up to them, then do this brutal assassination, so I cleared them without having to like
let's go to the boss first, and then
and maybe do like a lot of damage on that boss or kill them instantly, and then I can focus on the other characters. It's not gonna be possible, it seems, to do a brutal assassination, go back in tall grass again, brutal assassination. That does not seem to be possible. So my question is that a good thing? Yasuke not being able to fully do a stealth infiltration is a bad thing. We're gonna turn it around for a fact. So when you say agree, disagree, read the poll first.
Is it a bad thing? Yes, you think it's a bad thing. No, you think it's a good
Yasuke
thing.
not being able to fully do a stealth infiltration is a bad thing. Agree, disagree.
Wow, what a tough one. I think it makes total sense if you want to make it a Ghost of Tsushima. Where you could like approach and shout at enemies and they would come to you one-on-one. And those one-on-ones were kind of easier than approaching a whole group, right? Maybe that's also something. Maybe he can get some kind of chain assassinations out though. Like if people notice him, then he would be like fine with throwing, I don't know, the weapon of the assassinated enemy at yet another one. Or assassinated, you have to say, of course. Or maybe he will, or I don't know. Maybe he will be able to use a bow to kind of range assassinate enemies, but it doesn't make sense if you put it into that honorable context with only killing enemies who notice him as an enemy. So even if he would shoot at an enemy on range, he would say, "Yep, here I am. Take cover."
I'm aiming at you.
I don't know.
I would take cover
I'm
if I were
aiming.
you. Yeah, that's the worst
I don't
assassin
know.
ever.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think it's kind of good if you see him fight, and they of course want to bring out his props in fights, like him being that strong assassin, pulling enemies up with a katana, which you of course couldn't because the katana would break. But yeah, it kind of differentiates the two. And if you, I don't know, maybe you can skill him in that direction. And I also have a nice prediction for this week right now.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saving it up for later.
So
right?
one thing about that, I did ask, like, can you, because again, he's making a ton of sound. There are perks, so seemingly on gear, and also skills that will make Yasuke make less sound. But again, that sounds to me as if that will just make the brutal assassination easier to pull off. So,
or maybe he will shout less loud.
Yeah, so turn around, please.
Turn around, please. I want to kill you. And the person, of course, yes, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So yeah,
I don't know. I think it kind of brings a little bit of differentiation to those two characters, but I would also would love to be able to play the characters the way I want to play them. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. And also looking at Eivor, like, did it make a lot of sense for Eivor to kind of sneak around? Like, that was also a Viking thing, right? To just go in the front door. Or were they also like they also had more like pride and stuff, right? They're not gonna. I mean, I think it's more like a samurai thing for sure, but
this makes sense, and you give those two characters a sharper profile by that. But I think this will even lead to more people picking up Nawe, because you can't stealth with him. But maybe if there's like a quest, here's this open battle, you will of course pick Yasuke, because I wouldn't like fight an open battle with Nawe with cloth armor, maybe some leather parts, but instead would choose the bull, of course. You're now pulling up the new gameplay.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Why are you?
Of course, the failed.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just I'm vanishing. I'm a ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. So I actually said I agree. So
you
it's a bad
agree
thing.
that it's a bad thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I think your points are very interesting about because it really seems, and we're looking at that right now, like this is like Nawe during daytime if you would like infiltrate a base. But when at Ubisoft Forward we also saw we saw them pick Yasuke. And then it was really straightforward. It was really like, okay, you go through the front door. There seems to be only one path through the camp. There's a group of enemies. You kill them. Another group of enemies. Like
in the footage right now,
like
he didn't like. He shot first. He didn't like say anything. Oh, here I am. So why
maybe
do
it's like the bow
in assassinations, but not with the gun? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe with the gun, it's like it makes a sound. So
it makes a sound anyways, but it's too late when the sound appears.
Did the enemies already see him though?
The first ones, I think they noticed something, but the second ones with the explosive barrel, they didn't see him. So he kind of assassinated them on range.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I mean,
No,
why then
they
do
saw,
it other way around in assassinations? So
yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Maybe we should totally ask the developers about that.
Yeah.
Why switch it up on range?
But
I mean,
that
of
does
course,
make me think that what you said is maybe true. That you can go stealth Yasuke with the bow.
mm,
And go into a camp, pick people off one by one. Like, again, what I was trying to say here is that this gameplay was really Yasuke just going like this, like a separate sort of main mission where you're just in this castle. I don't think you can leave as well. I think you're really, or you can probably leave, but the moment you're in the castle, that's like kind of the main mission. While in the open world, I really hope that you can have multiple approaches to bandit camps and then be like, okay, with Yasuke, I'm gonna try and sneak around and use the bow from afar. But it does seem that the moment you try and sneak up to the enemy and do a brutal assassination, that's when it ends. So
might be the case, yeah. But I don't know if. Of course, with using a gun, there's one assassination possible, and with a barrel, explosive barrel, there's a whole group kill assassination possible. But after that, they heard the shot, of course. As for a bow, you can hear a bow, of course, especially when it's a large bow. We didn't see it already, right? It makes some noise, like some boing, at least. Yeah.
I have here Chris saying, can you play the entire game without playing as Yasuke? I mean, there will be a tutorial in the game where you, of course, play both of them. And there will be certain parts where you play one character or the other, but that's really when Naue is not around, for example. And there are some side missions that are like probably very personal, so then it does not make sense to be able to play it with a different character.
So you have like Yasuke quests, Naue quests on the map that you can choose.
Probably,
but
yeah.
If that's side content, feel free to skip it. And I can totally imagine like Yasuke being caught in prison and Naue has to free him with being silent and stealing the keys.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that,
but,
or other way around, of course.
But it overall really seems like 90%, maybe more, can be played with the character you want.
And that's great. And makes up for some real replayability.
Yeah.
Some New Game Plus.
Do you know what the whistle arrows from For Honor are?
The whistle arrows?
No. Thanks, Emma. I'm gonna look that up. Yeah, the gun makes a sound, so alerts all enemies. Yeah, that makes sense. It was confirmed that Yasuke can
like
use
a decoy. Or so the whistle arrow.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I do see a lot of people, like a lot of like For Honor people. They're like, hey, I see a lot of like similarities in how the samurai from For Honor behave and Yasuke. Which
maybe we have to play some For Honor.
Yeah,
to prepare ourselves.
we have to do some research into For Honor. I wanted to pull up the images because people are like, can you use bows? Well, actually, in the collector's edition, totally, of course, if you watch this stream, watch our YouTube videos as well, then you're up to date on everything. But here we are with an image of a bow. Let it show.
It's quite a large bow.
Yeah, 100%. So, let's see. Do I have like
kind of skipped it. You made a screenshot?
Yeah, I made a screenshot of the collector's edition trailer for every page.
They went through it.
Yeah, no, they went through it really
and you're
fast.
like,
And I was like,
bum.
Print screen. Yeah. That was kind of the
splitting up each and every.
We have another one.
But yeah, it's quite a large thing. So that's kind of a long bowish.
And another one. This like a smaller
aesthetically,
one.
it looks smaller, totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know who will use the bow, if it's
it's
the
only
protagonists.
Yasuke, I think.
Yeah, maybe it's a bow of the enemies as well.
Oh yeah,
could be.
Yeah. No, but I think they're mostly showing images of the weapons that we can use. Look at this.
Might be the case.
Though
there's an NPC on the left-hand side.
Yeah, but I don't think they're gonna. We have to wait and see. But this is like a very cool shot.
Oh, I also love the weapon.
Yeah. The armor, and this
my
really
katana friend
me,
also told me. Oh, yeah, you go first.
No, this really shows me that there will be, because some people were like, it doesn't really though. But the people are like, still, are they doing outfit pieces or like a full outfit or gear pieces? I would be shocked if we don't do the gear pieces. So that this is like your chest piece, and then this the waist, and like
this is Yasuke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't notice first because it was just one person, and I mean, if there was a second one, that was the instant reference. But the weapon is quite interesting. My katana expert friend told me that back then they used broken katanas and put it up on a stick and knot it around, and then they had a spare. So maybe
awesome.
that's some thing we will get some iconic broken katana in the game and make it our spare or so. That could also be great.
That would be pretty cool, yeah. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Just some small fun fact.
I got another one. Right. Let me see if I got like another one. Where is it? Oh, this one. It's pretty cool too.
Love going through files frame by frame.
There he has like a more Japanese robe. Which
also shows him maybe wearing some cloth.
Yeah.
Armor? You can't call it armor anymore. Maybe for some feast or so.
Yeah.
Something traditional. But he's carrying weapons, so yeah. But I think we will carry the weapons maybe through 99% of the game.
Mm-hmm. No,
do you think
it's very interesting. Like here we have Yasuke not being able to fully do a stealth infiltration is a bad thing, and a lot of people disagree. Most people, 62%, is like, no, that's actually a good thing. That it will be more like a combat.
But it's not like 80-20, it's like 60-40.
Yeah. So it's still close.
Most of the people say it's good how they did it. Some people say...
Yeah. Because I also see like Mateo here, if Yasuke and Naue were more alike, which one would you have chosen to play? And that's kind of my thing. I think right now that Naue is more like the typical Assassin's Creed character, because I think she will still be very good in combat. Looking at the Kusarigama that she can use, and of course the just the katana as well. Like, one of the things that I have not really talked about yet is how Yasuke is better in combat than Naue. But still, if we look at certain gameplay, and then I'm gonna go back to, let's say I'm gonna do this first, and then go back to that gameplay we already went over.
We see her in open fights. She's also using her backhand quite a lot, which is maybe not a real thing, but it looks like this shadow dancey stealth assassin that she is.
Yeah, I mean, we will see the combat in a bit here. I think it's.
But yeah, in a one-on-one fight, normally a samurai would beat like a shinobi if both knew what was happening.
Yeah, I just think that, like, it really seems that even if you want, there's not a big option for Yasuke to go stealth. But if you want, I still think Naue is going to be a very, very good fighter.
I think we have to have like top-notch dodge skills with her, and maybe parry windows are shorter also. I could totally imagine that with Yasuke you can simply like put up your sword and block something, but with Naue you have to be very precise on the block and dodge every attack.
Yeah, but that's something you can get good at. That's kind of my point. And
maybe high skill capped.
Yeah, and that's actually gonna be very exciting. Like how she finishes this brute off looks very easy. Like it looks totally doable with almost the same amount of time to kill. Then, like I saw Yasuke beat that person, and it was almost the same length in terms of time to kill. While they're really saying like Yasuke kills enemies faster. But again, I really think if you are a good Naue player and maybe build her in a combat way with like combat perks and stuff, and unlock like combat skills, I totally think she's gonna still be really good in combat and have all the stealth capabilities. So she's kind of the character from the previous Assassin's Creed games. Maybe not as tanky as an Eivor or Cassandra or whatever. But
maybe like a Basim.
Yeah, I think that it will be more similar to that. But even with Basim, at one point I was like liking the combat a lot as well, and actually succeeding a lot in that as well. And it seems
With
that
Prince
the
of
Naue,
Persia armor, some self-heal.
Oh yeah, that was kind of cheating, but
Yeah, it was OP.
yeah, I mean, we will probably see for Naue, and that's still what we have to like. My interview sort of experience at Ubisoft Forward was not ideal. I wanted to ask obviously way more questions because we had many, but they're also like really focused on what they've shown so far. Yeah. And I can like ask things like, is a Reda type situation in the game? And they will be like, yeah, I can talk about it. Well, if you really ask about specific things from the gameplay, they will talk about it. So there are still many questions like, are the perks from Naue, her gear, different than Yasuke? Like, especially for the item packs. Because if that's not the case, and Naue gets like incredible combat perks as well, similar to Yasuke. Like we talked about this before, but I still think it's a 50-50 that the item pack items will be different depending on the character. I totally think there's a chance that they will just put the same perks on the gear for both characters, which would be kind of weird. But if that's the case, then I think Naue can be a combat powerhouse. While again, with Yasuke, it just feels right now that you're very limited. You're very, you're very, okay, I have to play this way. While with Naue, it's like, no, you can sneak around and try that way. If you get caught, maybe go in the combat situation. So I really think they have to show way more from Yasuke to convince people like me. Because if you ask me before the reveal, who are you gonna play, the Shinobi or the Samurai? I would have probably said the Samurai, but learning more and more about the game, I think Naue is gonna be the way more fun character to play.
Even having in mind that you can, of course, kill people in open fights with her and maybe have no real problems. Maybe Yasuke is more against like 5 enemies or so. He's better against groups, has certain talents like AoE slices or so, while Naue has some dodges.
I mean, Naue is like Kusarigama, like swinging it around, and that is super
of course,
powerful for that AoE attack as well.
But you, of course, have to have the weapon with you. And that makes it some kind of interesting in terms of builds, maybe, depending on the job you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that part, the fact that their assassinations are linked to weapons is going to be very interesting. But
I think Skata nails it. Now he seems like a more versatile character.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally. Right now, so let's see what happens with Yasuke. And maybe some sets might enhance his gameplay and stealth, that you want to play him so badly at some point because it's just fun being a stealth.
Yeah, I hope that's like
giant.
My fear right now, and that's where I was kind of going with at the start of the podcast. That did they really have to go this hard with the two characters in terms of like differentiating? Because I really fear right now, and again, we have to see more, we have to play the game, etc. I really fear that the people that are only going to play Yasuke will have a way worse experience playing this game than Naue. Because, again, what I saw from the Yasuke gameplay, again, the combat might be super in-depth and all that stuff. Still, it was already predictable. The whole camp, like, sort of infiltration was very predictable. You go through the front door. There are walls you can break. But yeah, you're really going from area to area with enemies to kill, and that's kind of it. And maybe there's one TNT box that you shoot to get rid of enemies. But that so far was the only variety. I hope there's more. I hope there are environmental things, right? And also, they're really talking about the seasons having this huge impact, which sounds really great. I hope that they nail that. But for Yasuke, what does it matter? If it's snow, if it's spring, if it's summer.
People will notice him anyways.
People will notice him anyways.
I'm assassinating.
He's not gonna prone in water to hide. No, he's just gonna there are like these ice spikes or whatever on the rooftop. So when Naue like walks over them, they will create a sound. So you have to be careful. Like during winter, some roofs are not great to explore, etc. Enemies will have different patrol routes depending on the weather, depending on the season. What does it matter if I just blast through the front door and I'm like, here I am? I don't care if the people is like, or the enemies are like walking around or staying near a campfire, at the end of the day, they will still get up and fight me. So, again...
Maybe, and that's just a strong thesis, maybe they designed the game for Naue and they added Yasuke in later to have some kind of differentiation in gameplay and to not have the problem as with Syndicate, of course, two protagonists being exactly the same or almost the same, and not there wasn't hardly no reason to pick one over the other. And yeah, they simply designed that stealthy approach, etc., all for Naue. And they simply said, yeah, let's put in a samurai. Right now, it kind of maybe feels like that.
Yeah, but...
And I think we have to see more about him, what really makes him a character to play. And I think they will have some answers to that, and hopefully enough.
Again, they really have to also do a poll on the Assassin's Creed Twitter or whatever. And then... Although I do think if they're gonna ask people now, I don't think people are well researched enough to know the differences in gameplay. That's really my core fear right now, that playing Yasuke will be very, very samey. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that there is enough. It does not feel like there's like... It feels like you're playing a hack and slash game like a DMC, but a game like that has so much depth and so many like cool encounters, etc., that you want to learn that combat, that you want to get better at it, and it's always exciting. And like, I'm not expecting that from an Assassin's Creed game, but you kind of have to have those moments and those things to make a game where you're only going from group of enemies to group of enemies exciting. And so far we've not seen that. And the fact is that you go to these groups of enemies, but those will be the same enemies that you fight with Naue or encounter with Naue, but she can do it in many different ways. And that
or you won't encounter them at all with her.
Yeah, or you can like skip them altogether. Again, we will have to wait and see. I wanted to quickly show you this, like how fast the collector's book art goes. So,
quite fast, yeah.
And
so you really got to go into Premiere really and skip frame.
Yeah. You really have to do it like that.
Screenshot everything out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense to do so. And get some insight on the bows.
Exactly. Like, they showed quite a lot. And, of course, they showed the full map in that video as well. So it was quite interesting.
But, I mean, in general, we are, of course, criticizing some things right now. But I, myself, I'm still extremely hyped.
Oh, I'm not criticizing. I'm more like fearful. And I'm like, did they really have to do it this? Because Ghost of Tsushima showed, and I'm like getting more... I think like how they did that is actually very cool, because you see still that this character came from a Yasuke playstyle. You are trying that playstyle at the start of the game, can still do that playstyle, but if you don't want to, you can go be the shinobi and hide in the shadows and be stealth. Like, you have that option, like we had in every Assassin's Creed game. I'm just not sure if having this huge differentiating factor now in this game was the right call in the end, but we will have to wait and see. I mean, maybe if they had a Jin-like character, it would have felt too samey. I don't know. But
maybe they will add in 3 other characters as a brotherhood, and then we can seamlessly switch between all characters, group up, and in 3 years they will add co-op to the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, that's just wishful thinking, but yeah, we have to see, of course, and I think we're relatively short on info right now, on new info to get in the upcoming weeks or maybe months. Yeah, maybe they will drop something before Gamescom. Do you think something will happen?
Yeah, probably, but not a lot. I think it will be Gamescom, and after Gamescom it will be...
Maybe they will do some kind of like character introduction trailers, like they did with...
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
With Cassandra, Alexios, they did like a trailer for each of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they so far, like from the reveal till Ubisoft 4, they had like, we of course had that huge box that we could open. They had the concept art. Like they showed quite a lot.
Yeah,
to keep people interested. But yeah, on the other hand, the game is in November.
It's still
So
a long way to go.
It's still a long way to
5
go.
months.
But that's why I thought
man.
the statements were kind of cool to kind of discuss some of the things. And I think maybe we should return them. Like if you have like a cool statement, if you're watching, you can go to jorraptor.com/discord. I'm going to post it in the chat here as well if you want. And there we have like an Assassin Raptor channel. And if you go there, you can also insert your statements or like sort of things that we... It's like, by the way, statement the right thing, the right word for it, I don't know. But actually, one of these polls, and then we can discuss that on the show. I think that's exciting. Of course, at the end, we want to do a prediction, and I'm really curious what you came up with.
Nothing too fancy, but
Okay. But
I
of
think
course,
the prediction just makes sense.
Okay, cool.
Somehow.
So real quick for people who are like, what predictions? We like to do predictions for what we think will be in the game at launch. So far the predictions have been, and I can look it up right here in our Discord.
In the
chat.
Discord.
So the first one we did was, you think there's going to be a shadow cloak ability.
So and what I meant by that was like you instantly become unseen, like in the shadows, like the Rasmus, you know, the band. Yeah.
Wow.
And you said in the first prediction you're gonna change seasons at launch. It's not possible. Also, the other way around. It's not possible to change them. Because first we will go through the seasons.
We learned some interesting things about the seasons, but what I really said was it's not like possible to be like go to the menu and
say
be like
winter,
I wanted to have it winter, summer. That was my prediction that it's not possible at launch. And then you said the call to arms ability is in the game, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's like a call to arms. I'm now in a big fight and I say, whoa, I'm not gonna do it. Yasuke come over.
Oh yeah, Yasuke would come. Okay.
Yeah, the other character, like always the other protagonist. Let's say it that way. Yeah.
I might already know the answer if that's possible. We'll tell you that later on.
Okay.
And everyone watching as well. I said that I think there's gonna be a wanted system in the game. So similar to Odyssey and Mirage. And if you like destroy things, then your meter also goes up. Because of course destructible environment is going to be a big thing. So those are the predictions we have so far. I want to hear your one for the new prediction.
So my prediction for this week is like a Yasuke talent to turn the honorable mode off to make silent assassinations possible for him. At some point in the game, because at some point, maybe through the story or so, he will notice, we can only do it in the shadows. I have to stay cloaked like you, Naoi. And then the silent assassination is available in the game.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, so good to note that I already heard that you can't make him like completely... like there are perks in the game. Wait, I'm gonna... quickly give you the quote here. So you can't make him completely silent. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, but I mean, silence is something else than him shouting, "Hey, I'm killing you."
No, that's right. So there are some perks and stuff that have you reduce the sound he makes, but he's never completely silent.
Yeah, okay. I mean,
but I still think it's possible.
A weapon still makes a sound if you use it. If you use a mace, of course, it's a sound that will come out of it. But it's a difference if you say, "Get up!"
And even that Soji door assassination is like, it will create a sound. So.
Let's see. Taking a risk with that one.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I hope that's the case. So, I either won... or like and then it's in the game, or the other way around. Never mind. So, damn, I lost my train of thought. But Okay, I'll just share my prediction. Let's quickly get over this. AC Shadows will have a mini game similar to Orlog, but has even less depth than Orlog.
Yeah, sure. There will be something in it, of course. Yeah.
But it's like a drinking game doesn't count. It has to be like we're sitting down playing this board game or card game or whatever. Okay?
No
And
drinking game.
Doesn't count. It's not like a mash this button or whatever. It's gonna be like okay, you have to beat your opponent by luck and by playing it smart. But I think it will have less depth than Orlog. And what I mean by that is that I don't think you can like win sort of abilities from people. So basically build a sort of deck of things.
That's actually sad because I totally loved the Gwent feature in The Witcher, and I think it had a nice amount of depth. And I also thought like Orlog could totally need some more depth, but yeah, it makes sense that there is something in it. They will likely have something in it. Maybe not at a table, maybe something standing or so, but I get the idea, some kind of competitional one-on-one
every big open
mini
world
game.
Has something like that nowadays. Of course, Star Wars Outlaws has Sabak. I would argue that Sabak...
Aragami, what's that?
No, I think that was one that we already made before my prediction.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, maybe folding origami.
Game. Like, again, a drinking sake game doesn't count.
But
But I'm making this prediction kind of hard on myself because, for one, I'm basically saying there will be a mini game like Orlog. Which I think just is very obvious that they will do something like that. So I wanted to add something to it and say I don't think it will be as in-depth as Orlog. And I know that Orlog was already not very... Like, it did not have a lot of layers or whatever. But it did still have this sort of... the more you play, the more options you would have. I'm saying that that's not the case. It's like... You sit down and you always have the same rules. You don't have like any advancements from beating all these other people already.
Something like domino or so.
Yeah, that it will be like a...
Yeah, but I think... Yeah, of course, we can also discuss the fun of that, but I would say it's not fun if you can't progress in that mini game. And you will simply have to play some rounds for story or some side content, but I would say people are gonna spend no time in it at all if it has no depth or no progression system.
No, it's gonna be a fun thing, and then like you said, during a main quest, something like that.
Yeah, maybe just something that happens once. That could be also the case, of course.
For Sabak, for Star Wars Outlaws, it's like a side mission chain that you can follow to unlock new abilities, which is gonna be cool. I saw some people ask like, are we gonna cover that? Of course, we're gonna do that as well. But okay, that's
subscribe
the
to JorRaptor for everything Star Wars Outlaws, of course. Yeah. Sorry for interrupting.
And Frankie boy, you see him right here. Check out his channel as well if you're German. Of course, you maybe know him already. Probably know him already. Fragnard. Go check it out. We will be back next week because you're still here, right? Next week and the week after that.
I'm still here. Yeah, next week I'm here. And also the week after.
Oh,
so
yeah.
July 3rd, I'm still there.
Nice.
But on July 10th, I'm somewhere else.
Okay.
In the US.
Yes. TC. So yeah, we will have a weekly show. But at one point, Fragnard will take a well-deserved break. And
I will vanish.
Yeah, and then I will find some other people to nerd out about Assassin's Creed. Maybe some other creators. If you want to see some people, let me know. I will bring them on. I will promise some sake or whatever, and then not give it to them in the end.
Or a collector's edition.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna keep that for myself. I already pre-ordered it.
I know. Yeah.
We're now 149 or 150 days away. I'm always going to Assassin's Creed News on Twitter. He's
always posting it.
Yeah. Every day. 149 days or 146 days until launch. That's maybe a fun thing to start the episode with from now on. So we're like getting closer each time. That's gonna be kind of fun.
We're so close, almost there. Just half a year.
Hey, that sounds like a lot of time. To be fair, 146 days.
Sounds less than, than it
doesn't
is.
sound that bad. Doesn't sound that bad. We are there. Thanks everyone, of course. Techback TV, I actually met him at Ubisoft Forward. So I could totally ask him. Get Luke in there. I'm talking to Luke enough. Of course, in a few hours we will do the podcast on his
Or maybe
channel.
Andy.
Yeah, Andy would be fun, I think, as well. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you had a good time. But I can ask Luke as well. See quite a lot of people talk about it. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. And of course, we will be back.
I will speak to you in the
soon.
next one.
And check out my previous video. If you're like watching and have not checked that out yet, do it with some really, really fun news. So I'm going to share that in the chat. So there's no excuse. Thanks everyone for watching.
There's no excuse.
And goodbye.
Goodbye.